Hello, my name is Nicole, and thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. Today, a viewer request. Can you please speak about people who manipulate you for various reasons, especially for your money? Says Lisa Levasseur. People who become close to you to steal your money because they feel you have more than they do, and they are entitled to have what you have. This could be friends, family, or partners. Thanks. Thank you so much, Lisa, for reaching out. Someone's face popped in my mind when you left that comment. A woman who is now gone. She passed away. But she did not leave this world without having one around her who had lost much. And so she started to gravitate toward this deceased relative. Before she left this earth, that individual ended up cooking and cleaning and caring for her and all of this. But she was well aware that the aunt had some money. She was well aware that the aunt, though, didn't have as much as others, but still had some money. Now, there was another relative that come to mind, and this particular relative, she had some folks that every now and again checked in on her. And one day she contacted me and she said that a relative had taken money out of her apartment. And her accusation was not false. It was actually true. And there was another person who verified that there had been money taken out of her dwelling. Both of these people now gone. But I tell you that sometimes the dead has a way of showing up and reminding people about all sorts of things that trouble them before they left out of here. Now, I'm not going to get into all of the paranormal types of things that take place with deceased members, but I just thought it was interesting that when you left that comment, these two relatives showed up. So today I'm going to speak in a place, or speak from a place, that is not just addressing what you requested, but I'm also going to speak from a place to give some peace on that other side a bit. People getting close to folks for financial gain. There is one who is living right now, and he spent quite a bit of time with some people for that very reason, and didn't mind bragging a bit to me about what he did to acquire some wealth. And at first, I didn't know how to react to all of this bragging. But the Lord said, listen, just listen to what he's saying. Don't interrupt. Don't be quick to cut him off. Don't come up with some excuse. Just listen. So I listened. And he told me about several people who he got close to, and a few of them leaving some wealth behind for him. Okay. So I said to myself, I said, well, God be willing. If he chooses to share, so be it. If he doesn't, I'm not worried about it, you see. Because I know my father owns a cattle on 1,000 hills, and I know that he also has mansions, and I know that he has prospered me in so many different ways. And so it is what it is, right? So you have these folks who come around you, who start talking to you, befriending you, telling you how they want to help you, how they want to do for you. And then all the while, when your back is turned, when you're looking the other way, they're going into your pocket, or they're going into drawers, or they're looking for some things. And then if you discover that some things are missing, they're going to conveniently come up with a story, or they're going to say, oh, you're losing it, or you're forgetful, or you don't remember where you put stuff, or you hide things from yourself. And that's why you can't keep track and all of that. But I'm going to tell you that these individuals, especially those that have gone before us, many of them was well aware of what was taking place leading up to their death. And some of you all, you know that you're not nowhere near death, but you do know some people that in another audio I talked about wish you were dead. Come on. And then some of you others, you know some people who like to lie and like to steal and like to come up with all sorts of things to take from you. And they feel like they should get from you because you are whoever you are, sister, brother, cousin, mother, father, whatever to them. You owe me. That's another audio message I did. These people feel as if they need to get from you because they did a little bit of this and a little bit of that. They feel like they should receive something because, well, you know, I did do this, that, and the other. It may have been back in 19 whatever, but you get the point, right? So God is watching, and God is not pleased because he sees how manipulative people can be. He sees how they lie, how they come up with all sorts of exaggerations, and how they are conniving, and how they like to flatter you and do all sorts of things just to get close to your money. Because see, they saw the money when you drove around, and they saw the money when they came to your house, and they saw the money when they looked at that label that you wear, and they saw the money when somebody else told your personal business, and they saw the money when they sat down and you were discussing your finances with someone. Oh, they saw the money, and so they see it, but as some people will say, they can see all they want, but they ain't getting. You see? Now, this isn't an issue for some of you all because you're not after anybody's money. You could care less. I could put my hand up. I could care less. There's people protecting their finances and cursing and saying what they're not going to do and all this other stuff. And I'm saying to myself, that's not anything I'm concerned about because I already know the Lord showed me in the spiritual realm that money ain't necessarily honest. That money is not blood covered. That money is not something that has been used in the way that God sees fit. So I don't want no curse upon me. Keep your wealth. Come on now. Some of you all, you have to just, as much as you need something, you have to just say, keep your wealth. You have to tell yourself when that flesh rises up and you say, I really need something and I ask, but yet this person hasn't helped. That's okay. We got a shift in the atmosphere. Keep your wealth. But you got these other ones that, oh no, they're not going to do all of that. They are bloodthirsty for money. You hear me? They are bloodthirsty. And so what they're going to do is they're going to come up with a nice little way of getting close enough to somebody's assets. They're going to show up helping. They're going to show up giving. They're going to show up talking about their needs. They're going to befriend some folks. And if those folks call on that individual who has suddenly appeared or reappeared, they are going to not do too much of anything without expecting payment or expecting some type of acknowledgement or put my name on a will. Another face appears and this individual is alive, but this individual was very disappointed when he found out that someone who he had did much for just did some things that made sure that he didn't get too much when the individual passed away. Okay. And once again, was going around that person, was it really about love or was it really about what can I get? What can I get? Was it really about love? A lot of times these people who are vultures, who are swarming around folks, around a dying body and so forth, they're not there for love. And some of you all, you know this, and you have even bumped a neighbor that you're standing next to, right? A relative, a friend, whoever, saying, look at her. She's sitting up there putting on those airs, crying all over mama, crying all over daddy, crying all over sister, brother, or whoever. And she knows that she can't stand those people. That's why I say that when a person say, I'm not going to a funeral, they mean it. When they say that I don't want to come around, they mean it. But then you get some folks who insist, and then when they insist and the folks show up, then they want to talk about them. I say stand on your word and stay away from anything that even smells a little bit like opportunity, money, that even has some type of manipulator or manipulation around it. Just stay away, because the minute you show up, there's going to be some drama, because those vultures are protecting the money, not so much the body, but the money. Okay. And this is a word for someone. So here we are standing around these individuals who we know are vultures, who we know are manipulators, who are braggarts, who are liars, and some of these other ones whose names got placed on wills and inheritances and really shouldn't have been there. Doesn't matter whether they did or didn't do. The point is some folks is just downright evil and shouldn't even be on anything. And then there are others who you knew that they were strange and they weren't there and they didn't do too much of anything, and you got the wrong people around you. But that's a whole nother audio. Okay. And so there's a whole lot of stuff that's going on, and there's a lot of talking, and there's some negativity amongst some people, and there's some whispering and some arguing and backbiting. I will tell you that if we look a little bit closer at the scriptures, we will find that Satan is amongst these individuals. Okay. And when Satan is having his way with some people, this is when the fighting shows up. And this is when people start coming up with all sorts of manipulations to get some people out. If they're in the running for some money, some opportunity, or what have you, they've got to figure out a way to get some folks out while they are in. So that means there's going to be the bad mouthing some people, coming up with some falsehoods, being there for the individual, encouraging the individual to call me. Just call me and I'll be here. Don't call no one else. Let me know what's going on and I'll make sure that everything gets handled. Don't you worry about a thing. Okay, don't alert her or don't alert him. Don't alert your daughter or your son. I'll be here. Okay. And so these little slicksters, if you will, are going to make sure that they got their spot. Okay. And the individual who I thought of, the one who was a caretaker, the one who had lost much and was looking for this relative to leave a little something. What I found that was interesting was how helpful she was, and how she made sure, despite all of the negativity and the meanness and just judgments and so forth that had come her way, she was still there. And some people admired her for that. But I didn't look at it as an admirable thing. I just looked at it as an opportunity. Okay. If I already lost a lot and now I'm going to strategically place myself around someone, and I really experienced a lot of negativity from that person, what is really my motive? Okay. Most people want to get away from people who are difficult, who are mean spirited, who don't treat them right. They don't gravitate close to them. But I guess when you sniff some green, you can kind of deal with all sorts of mean spiritedness from some folks. But that was my observation. And I'm not going to say too much more than that. But when trouble hits these people's lives, these manipulators who are cunning and so forth, and you don't really know what's going on with them, sooner or later the Lord reveals some things. Psalm 138:7 says, though I walk in the midst of trouble, thou wilt revive me. Thou shalt stretch forth thine hand against the wrath of mine enemies, and thy right hand shall save me. So I'm praying and I'm asking the Lord for revelation. I'm praying and I'm asking the Lord to protect me from all harm and danger. I'm praying and asking the Lord for some wisdom to speak in the event that someone says something that's wrong, that's cross, or even putting out an accusation against me. Well, you talking about everybody else. What about you? Maybe that's why you're here. Maybe that's why you just want to take up some time with some people because you want some money. You see what I mean? So the enemy's got to flip the script on you, and you got to be prepared for this sort of thing. He's got to flip the script because he doesn't want people to trust you. He doesn't want people to respect you. He doesn't want you to have any type of integral part in the person's life who has much wealth, or maybe no wealth, or maybe it looks like they have something and maybe it is just a little bit, but there's the gatekeepers who want to make sure that the finances are well guarded and the assets. And so if you're showing up and you got some truth, enemy is going to get his people in on that real quick and push you out, push you away. And don't you listen to her. Don't you listen to him. Okay. But I say that if you are that one that's seeing this sort of thing and maybe you're too weak to fight, maybe you have too much going on and you just don't feel like dealing with all these vultures, that's when you enlist the help of those people who you trust the most to fight those who are conniving and trying to get close to you. John 14:1 says, let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God, believe also in me. So I claim to be a believer, and I'm going through these different trials, and I know that there's some shady people around. I'm going to make sure that I'm as peaceful as I can possibly be. I'm not going to get mixed up in the arguments over whose name is on what. And who believes that I got something that I don't really have. Those arguments are irrelevant. Okay. Especially if you know you are dying, you know that you've got so much going on in your life. You have maybe somebody else that you're caring for, and that person's going through because of their assets and what have you. Somebody has to be level-headed in all of this. And this is where you get folks picking up the phone, contacting attorneys. This is when you got folks who are reevaluating wills and checking and rechecking things. This is where you are appointing certain people to be power of attorney over your estate. There's a lot of things that take place because you know that those vultures are starting up some mess. Okay. The first time you get sick, here's a little bit of advice, and I learned this from the one who passed away and was accusing some folks of taking some money and so forth. And here's something that you want to do, is that when you start noticing that you're becoming sick and you're spending a lot more time in the hospital than you typically do, and then you find yourself right back home again, that is when you need to definitely start talking to some folks about where you want things to go. Okay? Because there is something in the spiritual realm that will show you that your time is slowly but surely coming to an end. So that's a good time to start saying, okay, I want my favorite vase to go to so-and-so, to go on and take it over to her. And I want these gold necklaces to go to so-and-so. And, oh, by the way, take this money right here and give to this one and that one. And some people will say, well, wait a minute, that might be a bit premature. And what if God ends up healing that person? Even if you are healed, it's a temporal healing if you are up in age, because you're going to find yourself right back in the hospital again. Okay. When you got doctors saying things like, I want you to live this way, eat this way, exercise and all that. And you know that deep down inside, you don't have the energy for any of it. You know that you keep battling. You have even seen signs, vision, dreams, wonders, and whatever else concerning your life. And meanwhile, the death angel seems to be knocking on the door a little bit more frequently. It's time to start moving some things. Okay. It's time to start changing some things up a bit. Okay. Now, you have some individuals who, yes, they're going to assume that you got something. In one particular case, this particular woman, she did have a little bit, but it wasn't nothing to talk about. Okay. So the vultures thought that, okay, there's plenty. There must be something. more. And it turned out that there wasn't. And I even confirmed it myself, because I'm like, there is a lot of talk and a lot of activity surrounding this person's passing. Let me just be sure, because I know she had told me some things before she passed away. And so I did, and I found out that, yes, just as she said, it was correct. She did not have much. But when you got individuals that's sniffing around and they think that one person got more than everybody else, there's going to be some jealousy, some animosity, and there's going to be some whispering about, well, don't she have? I could have sworn she said, or doesn't he have this, that, and the other? Just always something going on. Once again, when you hear gossip, rumors, or whatever, if you can somehow find the truth out, then you find the truth out. If you can't, then you just have to take whatever information you can get and just say, okay, it is what it is, and keep it moving. Especially if nobody's giving you anything, what does it matter to you anyway, right? So when you know that there are those individuals around you that are strategically placing themselves in your life to take from you, that is when you've got to put that guard up. You can't keep entertaining people when you know that that is what their intention is. So you start to distance yourself a little bit. And once again, you get the folks who you do trust, who you do care for around you to act as gatekeepers to keep the manipulators out. The other thing is that you want to make sure that you are documenting your money and having someone else check, like a third party, check over your finances. So you might have, let's say, a daughter doing some things for you, right? But then you notice the daughter is starting to act a bit strange. That's when you get a third party to check your accounts to make sure that everything is in the way that that daughter claims. Okay. So, hey, I know that for some people, it makes them feel a little bit strange doing that. But if you suspect that somebody's taken from you, it doesn't hurt to get a third or fourth pair of eyes. Individuals did not know this about one of the deceased relatives, that she was doing that very thing. And so when money started disappearing, she had somebody paying attention. And when she noticed that it was going quite quickly, that's when she started with her phone calls. That's when she started asking questions. Wait a minute, what's going on with my finances? You see. The other thing you want to do is definitely be in prayer and ask the Lord to give you a strategy, give you a plan, lead you to the right resources. If you feel like right now your back is up against the wall and you have no one, okay, other than this individual who's coming around and being oh so helpful, okay? That is when you might have individuals who will suggest things like, did you ever consider having a camera, a hidden camera in your household? Did you ever think about having someone stay during that time when these people are over here? Did you ever consider on putting your stuff in a safety deposit box at a bank rather than keeping it at home? You know, so these people are around to help you, and rather than fight up against what they're saying, you should just consider moving your information, moving your resources, selling things if you have to, giving away some things. Because if what you have is causing such drama, maybe it's not a good idea to have these items in your home. And then when you start moving some items, those people, those vultures will stop coming around so much. What happened to your grand piano? What happened to that beautiful vase you got when you went overseas? What happened to it? Doesn't matter what happened to it. The point is that it's not here. Now, why are you here? Right? See, you gotta be on top of your game when you know that people are trying to run game on you. You have to be that one that's smiling, but you're also looking at them in all directions and all angles while them cameras are going. You've got to be that individual that's having a witness every time this person shows up. Why are you always inviting so-and-so? Why are you always questioning why am I inviting so-and-so? You just go ahead on and get my bills ready, please, so that I can take care of this, that, and the other, because some people do have personal assistants, relatives, and others who are taking care of their finances for them, but they don't necessarily trust everyone. Okay. The other thing is that when it comes to those individuals who feel like they are entitled to what you have worked so hard for, You can safeguard that in so many different ways. First of all, not making it accessible for everyone. So that might mean kicking some names off of some documents where folks have joined this and joined that. The other thing is you will want to invest your money in such a way where it is growing, or your assets, whatever it is, you want to invest in those, or take those things and invest them. And then this way, once again, there's not things all around the house, right? Documents should be put up somewhere or out of the home so that people can't come in while they're cleaning, organizing, doing whatever to look at your paperwork. If they feel like they should get something from you, you need to mark those folks, especially if they're real angry about it. After all I've done for you, and this is how you treat me, and you've had this major falling out, that's an enemy now. Okay. I hate to be the messenger of bad news, but that is an enemy, because that person is not going to get over some things easily. Knowing that you have now changed your mind about giving them this and giving them that and doing for them, or maybe you never did, but they just assumed. Okay. So you don't want to be making any promises that you can't keep. You don't want to tell this person anything just to shut them up, because that's where you get yourself in trouble. And you definitely don't want to put anything in writing for them to come back and say, look, I have a legal document that states that you said you were going to do A, B, and C. Okay. You are not entitled to give to anyone, no matter how many years they've been in your life and no matter how much that person has done for you. The individual who was assuming that the deceased relative was going to give to him after she passed away in abundance and didn't receive that, if she was still around, he would have probably had this conversation with her like, listen, I thought you were going to do this and you were going to do that for me. People change their minds. Sometimes people are very fickle. Today they love you, tomorrow they hate you. Today they say they're going to give you everything, and then tomorrow they give you nothing. So you don't want to hold any stock in what some of these people say, and then you don't want to be that one that's saying these things, and you know that all you're doing is dangling a carrot in front of somebody, and your plan was never to give them anything. Okay. And I hate to say it, but people who like to play mind games, or they're trying to manipulate people by promising them things just so that they can get something in the meantime, God sees the manipulation with some of these folks, and what he does is he makes it so that they don't have too much of anything before they check out of here. Okay, so while folks are saying that some people, ooh, they got a lot of money, they go through that money pretty quick. And before it's all said and done, they don't have too much. And then those that do have a lot, they think that so-and-so is going to get, and then they end up realizing, as they are getting closer and closer to death, that things are not going to play out like they had hoped. You know, God just has a way of just turning some situations around. So it is what it is. Some people just got evil hearts and they don't have any good intentions for anything. Now, those that are the liars and the connivers and the stealers and, you know, whatever else they got going on, the thieves, these individuals, you are going to have to definitely keep away from when there's a history of this sort of thing going on. And you're going to, once again, lock some things up, get some things out, sell some things, give whatever you really want to give away. Just make all the necessary arrangements early on, because if they can manipulate some folks while they're still here, just imagine what they're going to do once those folks leave here. Okay. And you can expose some folks too. If you sense or you see or you've got evidence and proof that somebody is up to no good, then you definitely need to let the person know who's being manipulated. And they may say, no, you don't know what you're talking about. I've known her for years, or I know. But a lot of times people tend to just assume the best because people have been so loyal. But if you got proof, then by all means present it. But if you don't have any proof, then you're going to look like the one who's making false accusations, and then that's just going to push you further away from that person. We should be very mindful of making assumptions. We should also watch to be sure that we're not those ones that's coming around people looking for something and assuming things, right, that they have that they really don't have. So if this is of any piece for the viewer, listener, please let me know. I don't want you to be bound in any type of situation with someone or feel bound by your things because you're trying to protect yourself from all sorts of vultures coming your way. Make sure, though, that you do seek a professional, like an attorney, a counselor, financial planner, people like that who can best help you so that you are not falling by the wayside, fighting over material assets and pushing people away and doing all sorts of things that the enemy would love to upset you about. Well, that is it. Blessings to you, Miss Lisa. And thank you so much, everyone else, for continuing to support NM Enterprise 7. To God be the glory. Please do check the description box for anything that might be of interest. And if you have any viewer requests, by all means, do reach out. Periodically, I do answer, and I will let folks know what's on my heart as the Lord leads. And it's up to you to listen and do whatever you feel is necessary in your situation. To God be the glory.